McDowell's supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417, let your wellness be our stress.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay By Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosile Bus Stop, Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosile.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
Live streaming has become one of the best ways to connect the funeral of a loved one with friends and family, both local and international. NBC Television will live stream your funerals on television and Facebook at a reasonable rate. With our state-of-the-art equipment, you can be assured that the quality of your funeral will be to your satisfaction. Call our office now and book your obituary and streaming with us. 758-453-7458.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Another wonderful Wednesday afternoon to you, everyone. Welcome once again to The Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel, solo today. Terry is unable to be here. He, as you know, is engaged in funeral and burial preparations for his dearly beloved mother who died some days ago at the start of this year. As a matter of fact, any thoughts I had that Terry might just take a few days off until he got things, the burial and all that under wraps and so on. It shows the depth of his determination. It shows the depth of his commitment, that he has continued coming. And any days that he doesn't, we know that he is, really engaged. I think he and his family have had some challenges in securing a burial spot and so on. So that just goes to show you how difficult they can be to come by these days, burial spaces and so on. But he has never stopped working on it, and it's really something remarkable that he has come here being himself, being the cheerful, energetic, like I said, wholly committed person that he is. So Terry, I wish you the best as you continue your efforts, and it really is an inspiration to see the way that you are bearing up well and strong in spite of, this period of mourning and grieving for you. Good afternoon to everyone. Thanks so very much for making the real issues your midday lunchtime period date, if I can call it that. But I love the interaction, the family, especially you people on the Facebook Live, who are so self-sustaining, who are just so self-moderating and keep the discussion going. Especially pleased also with those of you in the Real Issues WhatsApp chat group, I suppose a more close group than you would find on the Facebook Live. And your contributions are appreciated. I just want to tell you, when you see I delete some things, it's not really making any pronouncement on the worthiness of the person. I just like to keep the discussion streamlined. Let's not go all over the place. And some of the topics that you put there that I delete are things that I talk about. But I would like to see the Real Issues focus, by and large, on issues that pertain to St. Lucia, not necessarily only about St. Lucia. We talk about something that has to do, with CARICOM and a whole lot of different things, and they can have a bearing on St. Lucia. It's okay. But the other thing, the opportuneness and the timing of it, I sometimes look at it and I say, hey, here we are having a discussion on our road traffic situation and the accidents, and in the middle of it, somebody comes and they post something about African consciousness and North American racism. And I just feel that it goes a little too suddenly, too directly, and too jarringly against the grain of the flow of the discussion at the time. So I might remove it, not by saying it's worthless or it's no good, but because, you want to preserve the flow and the focus of the time. That's all that there is to it. I appreciate all your contributions, and I also try to avoid clutter, so that a lot of the forwards and the flyers and so on, they're not bad in themselves. But, you want to keep it as uncluttered so that we can maintain our focus. I think you're doing a great job, and I think I have really a great membership of people on the Real Issues, and I'm really pleased with you. And I appreciate your being there. Don't take anything that I do in terms of the deletions and so on to take them personally. All right. I'm going to read something. I maybe could have had Jaquan to put it up on but I don't think I sent that one to him. I think this one, it's in the form of a press release. Let's see if I saved it. I have a way of the Public Assistance Program payments for January 2026 start Wednesday, January 21st. You know what day and date that is? We're talking about today. And I'm going to go through, a lot of you would know about it already, but it is the manner in which this government, since the election, since it held its thank you rally, the swearing in of the Prime Minister, and then his cabinet, and then, the swearing in of the parliamentarians, and again, taking their various oaths of the senators and so on. This government has not allowed itself to be carried away and distracted and to basically be held, almost we might say, hostage is not a good word, but to be held in a spell of enthrallment over its victory. I mention this because so many governments and prime ministers and presidents, and I think you've heard me say that before, the moment they win an election or they win another election, there is a triumphalism that seems to consume them, and it makes them become cocky, it makes them arrogant, it makes them too much in terms of feeling so nice about themselves, preening themselves and patting themselves on the back and flattering themselves. They can't stop talking about the campaign. They can't stop talking about the victory. They can't stop talking about, the other side being worthless and how they were booted out and so on, as opposed to getting on with the job. We know the other side was bad. That's why the people kicked them out, I would think. And I'm just so happy to see the way this government of the St. Lucia Labour Party, led by Philip J. Pierre, how they have just continued on what they're supposed to be doing, the roadworks. And Honorable Kenson Kazimi, you had a Facebook post which was wonderful. I won't bother reading it again, but I mentioned Kenson Kazimi, but when you consider a man who won an election by what might well be the most prodigious majority ever in the history of elections in St. Lucia, getting clobbering his opponent, who seemed absolutely hapless, who seemed pitiful, who you had to, Marcella Johnson got all lapping when you look at the results and so on. But apart from the little celebration, the victory rally and so on, Marcella moved from there. Kenson Kazimi has approached both his ministerial and the parliamentary rep, MP for the constituency job, with the same kind of drive, energy, and resolve that this man is focused upon solving the problems of the roads and of the water and of the land availability for housing for people and so on. And that is what the focus is, and it is being repeated everywhere. We don't have time to indulge in endless cussing out of the people that we have already defeated. We want to work for this country and for its people, and that is what I love. I saw somebody post something about a great job paving the road where there were potholes along Miku Street. It is just in front of the cathedral, between the cathedral and the courthouse. And yes, I pass there. I used to pass and wonder, why is it there for so long and it's getting worse and so on. But to deal with those kinds of things, the things that matter to people, the things that are important, I just love it. And so when I see a press release, thanks again, John Emmanuel. One thing about you, I'll always big you up, you're on the ball. The Ministry of Equity, Social Justice and Empowerment wishes to notify clients of the Public Assistance Program, PAP, of Babono, Castries, Grosile, Susi, and Millet regions that payments for the month of January 2026 commence Wednesday, January 21st, that's today, 2026, to Friday, January 23rd, 2026, at the CCC, that stands for Castries Constituency Council. We used to call it Castries City Council. Office on Pena Street, right on the other side of Constitution Park, as if you don't know, I'm being superfluous, but I'm being superfluous so that I can be emphatic. January 23rd, 2026, at the CCC Pena Street, Castries, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So that window of time would have closed by now. But it has started, and the point is not to notify you, because I'm sure people would have known already. For further information, please contact the ministry at telephone number 468-5103 or 5108. That's for those in Castries, and 454-6478 in Vieux-Fort. They're focused upon remembering, the poor, remembering those who need that public assistance, who need it and depend upon it. That is what they focused upon. I'm mentioning this because I have seen too many governments, too many prime ministers and presidents, if you look at the international situation. It's like they can't stop gloating and exulting in their triumph in this and how they defeated and how they're mighty. And I think we're seeing that in Trinidad, come on. Why is that happening in Trinidad as it's happening in America? You won an election, you lost one. You won the subsequent one, because the very same curve that is occurring in Trinidad happened in the United States. You won 2016, you lost 2020. You won back 2024. Okay, move on with things. It's all an investigation of all people who you've had some kind of contretemps or disagreement with and so on. Spending so much time on persecuting opponents, sending military and National Guard and ICE, not coincidentally into states and into cities that were won and are represented by opponents, political opponents, Democrats and so on. And then we see in Trinidad the same kind of thing. Is a continuous giving opponents power and power GT and like you high and mighty. You lost before, you can lose again, you can die in office, any number of things can happen. And I am so happy and I feel so blessed that we do not have such a leader in St. Lucia who wastes time, spends time always to cuss out those that he has. And that's why, you all probably understand better now what I'm talking about, Let's stop wasting time cussing out irrelevant people and engaging them in debate and refuting them, making them. This is the same foolishness they did. They did for how many years, and you see the result, As Jesus Christ said in one of the things, I'm not preaching to you, but this is a Christian country. We need to draw upon the message that we say we believe in. A tree is known by the fruit that it produces. If it is a good tree, it will bear good fruit. If it's not a good tree, it will bear bad fruit, poisonous fruit, and so on. He also said that wisdom is known by the children that she produces. And if you look at children as being the results, being the outcomes and so on, just look at some of those people who wanted to make, and they actually succeeded in making people believe that they were so bright, that they were so intelligent, that they were so sharp, that they were such strategists, that they were great at communicate, and all at communications. Look at how they put off people, including people from their own organization who didn't want to come forward and get involved in anything while they were there, because it's only to cuss out and to insult people. What are we taking them on for? They have done a wrecking job on what is supposed to have been their own. What we want to do? Make them wise to their own ways. Just leave them alone. Model ourselves on our leader, the Honorable Philip Joseph Pierre. Look at how he lets things just slide. He speaks about things that are important, about the problem on the roads, about how we need to check ourselves, what we're doing on the roads, the way we drive and so on. These are the things we have to think about now. How many people have been stabbed? There have been too many shootings, but I think, we've had a couple for the year and so on. That's a wrong foot, a bad foot to start on. What can we suggest? What can we do? What can we look at that may be driving this problem and so on? These are the things we have to focus our minds. Not about people who only want to engage in TMT, Powell GT, enlisting by Moon Mepui, Tommy Apache Hadsal Moon, and insult people and embarrass them. That's an Alan Shastney thing. Alan Shastney is a poor politician, tactically and strategically. When he approaches any political contest, all he wants to do is to see if he can make the other person ashamed and embarrassed. Just go back, and I'm sure somebody like Christopher Hunt can do a good job, including when he told Rihani Isidore, I'm ashamed of you, sir. I'm embarrassed, and I'm ashamed of you as a journalist, etc. Afterwards, I used to listen, and almost every time Alan Shastney, particularly during his time as Prime Minister, he should be ashamed and embarrassed. That is the only thing that he knew. And so he went picking people who were supposed to have been his surrogates and his people to do his communication. And you could almost tell the way they were behaving was like the only important thing was to see if they can make Jeremiah Norbert ashamed and embarrassed. The only thing they could do was to put shame and embarrassment on Richard Frederick and this and that. That's all. To try to say something or relate something that will make you, basically withdraw or put your tail between your legs. That's all they were trying. There was no sound messaging or strategizing in the political strategic communication or anything of that sort. Why? Because they were taking their cue from the leader, who as long as he can make, so he goes to the house, and rather than seek to make a contribution on behalf of the people, is to see if he can embarrass Claudius Francis and make him look like he's an effete and incompetent speaker who don't know what he's doing and all of that. Where has that led you? So a lot of us don't take those people on. We're doing too much of that. Too much of that. We're giving them relevance. We're giving them dignity. We're giving them oxygen. We make it look like they're worth our time and so on. Sometimes the best way to exercise disdain and contempt and dismissiveness is with an aloof, stone silence. Those people, you're not worth my time. You got people's time and attention, and where did it leave you? We got to learn to do that. Move on with the country. Follow the leader. Just look at Philip J. Pierre. the way he behaves, the way he treats with those things, and all his ministers almost and so on. Richard Frederick is fairly quiet these days. I don't know if he needs to warm himself back up, but he's there. He's working. He's still continuing to do his thing. He ain't wasting time on rush clock or wash clock or whatever it is. He ain't wasting time on that. They don't have time for that. They banged them off already. Let me move on. I'll do the same thing. Maybe we love the energy of the campaign and we miss it and we want to stretch it and we want to go. But there are other things that can excite us, people. There are other things that can give us energy. There are other things that can wake us up, that can give us, the fire to move on and so on without always regurgitating and relitigating the same things that we fought, we campaigned, we went into combat, we contested, and we prevailed. We came out on top. You win the battle. Stop shooting, your ammo into the corpses of those that you flattened already. You gunned them down already. Stop shooting into the corpses because, some show. Man, save your ammo. Like the phrase goes, keep your powder dry because there are battles ahead. You can be sure there are battles ahead. They may not come in the same form as an election campaign. But all this whole thing about the visa and the pressure and the this and that, we're going to have to be facing battles ahead. And we won't be facing them alone. There are countless others who will be facing it. Let us see how we can collaborate with them, how we can work with them. Because we are facing powers that are so great now that sometimes we can despair. We don't even know how we will take the first step, but the first step we can take, we will take. And we have leaders, ministers, servants, diplomats, and so on, who will give us guidance into how we can go forward on those things. So much for that. Let me just tell you that in our final half hour today, I will be having by telephone an interview with the CEO of the Regulated Substances Authority, I hope. So many times you announce people and then next thing, something goes wrong with the phone or whatever it is. But Mr. Dylan Norbert Inglis, a lawyer who's the chief executive officer, is going to be on this program, and I want to ask him, what is the RSA's take on the complaints that have been going that the legalization framework for marijuana for cannabis is moving on so slow. Matter of fact, I think I see some unhappy people call it the slow walking, of the implementation of the whole thing, especially when it comes for the legalized cultivation of cannabis, because some people in anticipation that this matter would have been finalized, operationalized, that they went ahead planting their weed only to find police, raiding them and arresting them and doing this. But police have to do their job unless there has been a definitive proclamation of the law and the rolling out of it for the announcement of a commencement did by the minister. Where the police are concerned, it's still on the books, it's still the law. So there seems to be, and I want to ask Mr. Inglis about that. So if you have any questions in that regard, you can perhaps begin sending them to me. You can put them in the Real Issues chat group. So when I spot them, and he's on between 1:30 after our 1:30 ad break to until we close at 2, somewhere in that time slot, maybe we can have him to answer a few questions. I just want to tell you that. All right. So in the meantime, there's a video clip that I wanted to play yesterday. It's about 4.5 minutes, and it pertains to the transition home, which I think is observing its 15th anniversary this year, and the staff in observance were treated to some social hosted, some social event at the Bellevue Hotel, and that and other things are highlighted in this report by John Emmanuel.
Every calm response teaches a child that safety is possible.
For 15 years, the New Beginnings Transit Home, an institution managed by the Ministry of Equity, Labor, Gender, Elderly Affairs, Social Justice and Consumer Welfare, has provided safety, care and stability for children navigating difficult transitions. Behind that mission is a team of caregivers whose work is often quiet but deeply impactful. On January 16, those caregivers were placed firmly in the spotlight as staff of the transit home were treated to a special luncheon at the Bellevue Hotel, an intentional gesture designed to make them feel valued, appreciated, and recognized for their unwavering commitment.
The transit home is celebrating 15th year anniversary. That's on the 18th actually, but we have the opportunity to come together to have an early celebration because we got a very wonderful invitation from the Bellevue Hotel for lunch and to celebrate our staff and the hard work that they're doing.
Francis says the occasion was about acknowledging the people who show up every day for the children, often under demanding circumstances.
We don't just receive, we want to say thank you, and they are the ones who make things possible for us, supporting the ministry in what we are doing.
She noted that partnerships with the private sector have played a vital role in uplifting both staff and residents of the home.
Without your corporate partners and persons helping, we cannot do everything on our own, and the ministry cannot do everything on their own. So they coming in and helping us bring this love and cheer to our children. It is, I don't know if without them, it would not have been so merry.
Along with the Bellevue Hotel, some of the more notable sponsors are Windjammer Landing, Invest St. Lucia, and Manny's Bakery, to name a few, each providing support in their own unique way. For the Bellevue Hotel, the gesture was deliberate, recognizing that caring for the caregivers is just as important as supporting the institution itself.
Bellevue Hotel, like you said, has always been a property that, looks forward to giving back to the community that we serve in. As you could see, we're probably one of the most community-centered hotels you would find in St. Lucia, and it's fitting that, we do our part. It's like a duty, a call of duty, not just a corporate responsibility, but a call of duty. Just going there and understanding, what these children are going through. And the transition that they're going through was very heartwarming to us to be a part of that opportunity to bring joy to them.
LaForce added that the partnership will not end here.
Doing it for the first time, I can tell you it won't be the last time because it's meaningful, and I think for us that sort of opportunity creates a lifelong change for somebody. Whether we can impact one, two, or all, we realize there's a change that we can make with the transit home.
As the transit home marks 15 years of service, newly appointed Minister for Equity, Honorable Emma Hippolyte, has just wrapped up a familiarization visit to the institution, commending staff for their tireless effort at helping to nurture and protect some of the nation's most vulnerable young people, and vowing to provide all available resources to the institution as it seeks to meet its mandate.
Transit home, thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do. I will continue to do all I can to support you.
The 15-year milestone celebration reinforces a powerful truth that strong institutions are built not only on policy and structure, but on people who feel supported, appreciated, and valued.
Thank you.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop, opposite the Grosley Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosley.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
Live streaming.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with the Real Issues powered by Blue Waters on this Wednesday, the 21st of January 2026. A message I got, was it yesterday, day before, from Isai Hall, who describes himself as working with the committee at the Ministry of Housing, Local Government and Urban Renewal to plan the 2026 Independence Baton Relay. The schedule is complete and the start is Wednesday, January 28th. That's a week from today at 9 a.m. in Castries East at the James Belgrave Court in Marcia. He says, we have met with the police, fire service, traffic department, and NEMO to examine every route and plan all traffic, safety, and emergency measures. You are invited to the official press brunch on Friday, January 23rd at the Ministry of Housing on the 7th floor at 10:30 a.m., Castries Waterfront Car Park Building. Presentations include a welcome and relay overview that will be presented by Yasmin Steele, Traffic Management and Safety, the RSLPF, the schedule, remarks from Castries East representative, we know that is the Prime Minister, remarks by ministry officials. All stakeholders will be available to answer your questions and provide interviews. Looking forward to your presence. All right, Gilroy Isai Hall, this message coming from him concerning the Independence Baton Relay organizing for 2026. And that will be from 9 a.m. on January 23rd at the Ministry of Housing, 7th floor. All right, that should be, 10:30 a.m. on the Castries Waterfront Car Park Building. All right, folks, we are opening the telephone lines to take your calls since, as I said, in the final half hour, we expect to have the CEO of the Regulated Substances Authority, Dylan Norbert Inglis, on the phone with us to speak about some matters that have been in the air for some time now. You can WhatsApp call us on 758, the area code, of course, 487-9849, 487-9849. The mobile number on which you can WhatsApp call us, and you can call us on the landline, which is 4533-911. All right, we're taking your calls until that time. Meanwhile, as we are with the beginning of our calls, there is a question that someone had asked me a couple of days ago, saying, "Hi Shelton, based on our constitution, how long can we stay without a leader of the opposition?" All right, I spoke with the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Claudius J. Francis, this morning, and he said, even though someone has won an election and they're eligible to be a member of the House, you cannot actually be considered a member of the House and allowed to sit in the House until you're sworn in. Mr. Alan Shastry has not been sworn in, whether as a member of the Parliament or as the leader of the opposition. I think they are separate oaths that you have to take. I could be wrong on that, don't quote me on it, but he has not been sworn in. And when he comes, when he does show up, the first order of business will be for him to be sworn in as the Member of Parliament for Miku South, and I suppose subsequently as leader of the opposition. If he stays away without reasonable excuse, which he has to submit to the presiding officer, which in this case is Mr. Francis, if for 6 consecutive sittings of the House that he stays away without reasonable excuse, and the determination of reasonable excuse, I think, will be made by the presiding officer. But let's talk about if he stays away for 6 consecutive sittings without reasonable, without acceptable excuse, his seat can be declared vacant. All right, so just letting you know that this is the answer that I got from Honorable Claudius Francis, not in his exact words, but I think I've done a decent job in paraphrasing it. I don't know what the situation is with Mr. Shastry now. I didn't go on to ask him whether he has submitted an excuse. I suppose that will be a little bit premature at this stage. But if he stays away for 6 consecutive sittings without a reasonable excuse, which is accepted by the presiding officer, we're not saying he will be, but his seat can be declared vacant. 4533911, I saw a call coming in a while ago, but when I pressed the answer button, it looks like the person had given up. So the landline is open, 4533911, and you can also WhatsApp call us on 487-9849. All right. Now, while I was talking about Yassi Steele, based upon the message from Isai Hall, I got a message with a flyer. Maybe I should send that, Jaquan, for you to put on air. Wishing Yassi Steele happy birthday. And I think this message came from Cornelia Jacob. So I'm trying to see if I can forward it to you, Jaquan. Let me see. Okay, Jaquan. Yeah. I want to make sure that I send it to both you and to NBC Real FM, but I'm not seeing the NBC Real thing, so I wanted to make sure I don't overload your phone. NBC REAL, NBC Real FM. All right. So there you have it. If you can get that flyer and put it on the screen. So happy birthday to you, Yassi Steele. I think I'll join myself in that. I'll piggyback on Cornelia. She's a very nice lady. What's her position again at the Castries Constituency Council? But my goodness, she's at the forefront of so many things, you know. She's got to be someone who's the events manager, who's the operations manager, so many different hats, I'm sure, that she wears. Happy birthday to you, Mrs. Steele. And we wish you the best for many, many more. Keep that there for just a little while so that, you know, people can see what it is. 487-9849, that is the number which you can dial. And you can also reach us via WhatsApp on 4533911. Good afternoon to you, Muriel, Lena, Lima, Finister, so many names. I know her name is Muriel, but I think she has the nicknames Lena, and people also call her Lima, which is the capital of Peru, isn't it? All right, so thank you very much for always sending a nice, encouraging message to me. Now let's see if we can get some of the people on the Facebook Live, which you tend to be... 49, that is the number which you can dial. All right, if that was something embarrassing that would have just gone out on my phone, happened to Terry, the other day, then I would have probably been the most embarrassed guy that you can find. So, thank you so very much for sticking around with us. Let me see this. Oops. I'm trying to get the comments, but when I open the Facebook, it doesn't show me the comments. I don't know. Sometimes I used to get them scrolling here for me, but other times, tap to join live. Okay. All right. Okay. Wow. Good afternoon to you, Conrad, who says happy birthday, Yassi, Baton Relay lady with the voice on the truck. Vernon Casamo believes, and I'm sure he's talking about Shastney, he will come back after he stays out for 5 consecutive sittings. It says seatings, but sittings. So I mean, he'll really take it right down to the wire. Play this kind of game of brinkmanship and so on, and then he'll come back after the 5th one. Casamo says that Shastney knows how to manipulate the laws of the land. Al Henry says that Yassi is a counselor. A counselor, doesn't the counselor refer to the people who are on the board basically of it and so on, of the council and so on? I don't know. I think she's an employee of the council. I don't know that you can be both a counselor in the sense of being a city board member or director and being an employee. She's got a position. I mean, she's got a position on the council as an employee. I think so. Somebody says regarding Shastney again, he will come back in grand style. Felicia Daniel believes it's a sign of the loser's empty brain. Skylar Rain Peters says, we need to stop asking about Shast's whereabouts, stop making him relevant. He doesn't like to be ignored. That was in response to a question that was sent to me via WhatsApp, so it isn't something that I just basically cooked up myself, and I want to show regard to the real issues people, that when they do come and they ask questions, that I do my best to find out and provide the answers to them. And my friend, I did, as I say, contact the Speaker of the House. I don't think there's anyone more knowledgeable than him in these matters, and so he provided me with the response which I've brought to you. All right? Let's see what else we can have here. Oops. So Jaquan, if I want to see all the comments that we have so far, all right, as soon as I hit this comments little, it just goes back to the black, which I don't get many of them. So can you just show me how? Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, but I don't know. There's a time I used to get the comments scrolling out in the white like this if I wanted to write them. I don't know. What's that? Yeah, sometimes I don't know. I just don't like. So you said top comments. Yeah. All right. 487-9849 and 4533-911. They are the numbers on which you can call us. Another person says, afternoon, Shelton. Of course, they say Sheldon, Have a wonderful afternoon also to everyone. Thank you very much for that, Peter Nicholas and Vina Charles also, Veronica Lubin. Elmer Lambert says, you start again too early for that and you will continue for the next 5 years. You can't be referring to me, Elmer. I suspect it's the person they tell me not to mention. We can't avoid it. Sabina Fontenelle, good afternoon to you as well. And Alicia Paris, who is also sending us greetings. We want to thank that. Thank you for that. Cletus Peter says it backfired on Shastney badly. And Conrad adds, I am with the government for the first 100 days in office. I have no time for the flabos. Imagine today is 50 years since Concorde made the supersonic journey across the Atlantic. Time really flies. Yes, it does. Big up Auntie Emma and her team. Gregory Etienne lets us know that he is tuned in. And someone observes that January is going quick. Every day, every month, every year does, especially as you grow older. Let's see if we can get more of that. All right, somebody's saying greetings to Mr. Daniel and his co-host, Mr. Terence Fenelon. Well, he's not here today. but he remains my co-host even in absence, so we are happy for that. Wednesday blessing to all participants. Have a wonderful day. And Stanislaus Maso says a prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for another wonderful day for us. Good day to everyone. Mr. Jeremy, good afternoon to you as you convey birthday greetings to Yassi Steele. And Priscilla Redis King says, I agree with you. We need to move forward. Victoria Black says he will come on the 6th. He has no respect. That is when the 6 consecutive meetings are up and so on. Don't know why would he want to stay away from the parliament, and yet he campaigns to win election to the parliament. The campaign is for election to the parliament of St. Lucia. Everything else, ministerial appointment, leader of the opposition, all of that comes after. If his heart is not in the parliament, why is he still, bidding and vying to become an MP? And that's not his first. He tried in, when was it? In 2011, he didn't make it in Soufrière. He switched to Miku South, and he's won twice. If his heart is not in getting elected to the parliament, then, what is the problem? Terry Alex says that is because we have a PM that is solid in his thoughts, words, and his deeds. He is focused, and that is why he is loved and will succeed as St. Lucia's best PM in his time. All right. Thank you very much. I fully agree and share your sentiments, Terry Alex. Good afternoon to you, Justina Gilbert. And also Peter Nicholas. Thank you very much for the greetings. Vina Charles. Veronica Lubin. I've already mentioned Elma Lambert. And Sabina Fontenelle, as well as Alicia Paris. Okay. Nice to have you all on board, folks. What's happening with the phone today, Jaquan? All right, so they don't bother even when I announce. Well, when they will call later, I'll probably be having an interview going. So, folks, this is the time. That's why I've opened the phone lines earlier, because this is the time that Mr. Norbert Inglis gave me. He said that's the time he could do the interview in the 1:30 to 2 segment. So I didn't want to tell him no, I can't take him at that time. Yassi Steele on her Facebook page says, Lord, your grace and mercy brought me through another year. Lord, I humbly thank you for everyone, I think she meant every storm you brought me through. Thank you for everyone, for every, the predictive texting, you can do that. Thank you for every plan of my enemies you destroyed. Thank you for the many times you protected me. Thank you for shielding me against all rising tongues against me. Thank you for every single blessing, favor, increase, and blessing upon my life. Father, if you have really blessed and favored me beyond measure, thank you. Thank you for a praying mother. Thank you for the genuine family that surround me. Thank you for the friends that protect me aggressively. Thank you for the genuine hearts I work with daily. Thank you for all these people praying for me along life's journey. All right, I think we're getting a call. Let's take that call. Good afternoon, Real Issues.
Good afternoon, Sheldon.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I was looking at the list of countries that Donald Trump placed the ban on, the visa ban.
You're looking for what?
The visa ban. For the green card, the ban Trump.
Yeah, they didn't say it's a ban. I think basically they said they put in a pause on it for now. Yeah.
They freeze it for a while.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah, but what I'm seeing that most countries are third world countries. Most of them are from Africa, Caribbean, and there's some poor countries in Europe.
Yeah.
Asia and those in the Pacific region.
Yeah, well, they didn't say all countries. It's 75 countries. They listed the countries.
But I'm telling you that most of the countries the ban, the visa freeze was placed on, from those countries.
We do know Trump's Trump's sentiments towards a lot of those countries. He in his previous term described them as being shithole countries.
Yeah, but they are not, because if you have to look at a place like the place he stopped the war, I think Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yeah.
That country is one of the wealthiest when it comes to minerals.
Yeah, he probably wants to stop warring them because he wants.
They have a waterfall on the Congo River that if they can harness it to provide hydroelectric power, it can have enough power for the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. The Congo River.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these places are not shitholes. They come in those countries to plunder the resources.
Exactly.
And then they're not helping those countries at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Good care, man.
All right. Okay, we got that call on 4533911. That line is available to you, and we also have 758-487-9849 that you can WhatsApp call us, folks. I'm asking you, don't leave all the calls thinking you'll get them in at 1:30. There's a possibility the line will be engaged, or we will be engaged in an interview, and we won't be able to do it. This is why we've opened the phone lines early. Terry's not there, so we can accommodate less conversation between us. Now is the time to do it. 487-9849 and 4533911. I'm sorry if the announcement of the interview has put you off in any way, but that's the way I had to arrange it today in order for the guest to be accommodated. I think we're getting a call. It looks like it's coming from a Barbados area code on the WhatsApp line. Good afternoon, Real Issues. You're on the air.
It is indeed coming from a is indeed coming from a Barbados code. Recently or this week, I saw some people from St. Lucia encouraging people to vote for the Democratic Labour Party in Barbados, and they're saying that the code is yellow. So I am wondering, are you just saying to vote for the DLP because the code is yellow, or because you know about them? And I'm saying that because Barbadians remembered what happened during their tenure. And if they want to choose the Barbados Labour Party as their choice for government, why are we as St. Lucians getting in their way? Why we want to encourage them to vote for somebody that you all know nothing about only because the code is yellow?
Yes. I don't know, caller. There seems to there seems to be that kind of fervor that people have, that once you see they support somebody or something or a party or the MAGA movement and so on, that they ain't nothing, and they don't look at the facts or whatever.
They're not hearing nothing.
Yeah, and I don't know. It just seems to be a weird thing that even when they see it is going, it's going bad, they will still continue to support it. But we got in a call on the landline number. Can I ask you to call back, please? Yeah, can I ask you to call back, because the landline...
Oh, sure, no problem.
The ability to hold on to it is less it would be on the WhatsApp line. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, Shelton.
Hi, good afternoon to you.
How you doing?
Doing great.
That's what moving where we are, but learning.
What was that?
Moving where we are, but learning.
Oh, Martin no bien muffled.
We do moving where we are, but learning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my party vite bonne. Matis a voté vin là. Pièce mon body moi ça.
Vous voulez dire Jack one body?
Pièce mon body moi ça.
Parole. Mais quand même, Shelton. Où ça à 2 ans là? Même pièce là, il était dans saison, hein? Il était dans temps, moi j'ai écouté news internationale, moi j'ai vu ça qu'a fait l'Amérique, moi j'ai intéressé à qui ça qui a fait l'Amérique. Pas parce que moi j'ai envie d'aller là, envie de rester là, mais moi j'ai écouté là parce que on savent, en chaque bail qui a fait là, on a pour une famille, ou a réaliser qui manière il y a des femmes droit les hommes, ou comprendre, ou pas de point l'avantage monde, parce que monde ni droit, human rights, that kind of thing. Et moi, venu à 2 ans, m'a jamais, et puis ça qu'a fait l'Amérique. It will impact me as years depending, but Mr. Pierre has been doing so much for us in this country that we don't need to be thinking of really desperately wanting a visa, immigrant or non-immigrant, even though someone had promised us that at some point we will not even need a visa to go to the U.S. You understand? Now, until miracle elections in Barbados, she has given us snap date like Mr. Pierre did because she's confident. I noticed they have a party or a coalition party And these people look confused. They're not even sure where they're walking toward, let alone, what they're going to do. I don't live in Barbados, and I don't claim to care what happens there, even though I have family there. But I'm saying that in this country of mine, St. Lucia, with Mr. Pierre on his second term, having done so very well, last term that he was given this endorsement, why should we care who Bajans elects? Until we are not going to lose. The crowd can't be yellow and yellow is not aware of what's going on. And I don't know the color of the coalition party. Okay? But St. Lucians, not St. Lucians, these flabbers, they cannot find anything to pin tag this government to, whether the last 4 years or currently, that they are now shifted focus. Let us remain focused on Mr. Pierre because he's here to stay. Mr. Daniel, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. People, this caller is making a great point, and it is so simple that you may not see how great it is. When people are totally bankrupt of any points, any ideas, any legitimate things that they can consider to be an issue, that they have to bring up. This is what they do, rejoicing over the problems the country finds itself in through no fault of its own, through no fault of its leadership. No, Donald Trump might just wake up tomorrow and just decide that he's gonna remove this restriction on immigrant visa and so on, or that the Caribbean, somebody spoke to him well and they told him, they're so happy that he got that Maria Corina Machado decided to give him the Nobel Prize, flatter his ego, and he might just remove everything put into CIP or that was driven by CIP or whatever it is on us. And then the day after he might reimpose it. Look at what he has been doing with tariffs. One time he imposing tariffs, one time he reducing them, one time he removing them, then he putting them back, then it's a tariff thing. That's going on now. Next time it's a visa thing. Then it's an oil thing that's going on. I mean, I don't want to say that this man, his head is not there, but I think his 80 years is really showing more than people have taken time to recognize that this guy's head is not what it should be and where it should be and so on. People say there's method to his madness and he knows exactly what he's doing and so on. Nobody can be so erratic and downright eccentric, if you ask me. When they hold such an important office and power in the world and nobody's noticing and asking questions about it. The man looks like he's set to vaporize alliances, although I understand he said that he doesn't plan to take Greenland by force. But who wants to believe him? Look at him. He set up talks. He said to Iran, we're going to talk. We'll sit down and thrash through this thing. His typical make a deal thing. And they were due to hold talks with the Iranian government and leadership, say on a Monday. And the Friday he had sent, his jets and whatever to go and bomb Iran's facilities. Now, maybe it is, but if you say you were not happy with the agreement, the joint whatever plan that they had with the United States, and you always mix it like it's Obama that gave Iran a free pass. The plan was between the US, the UK, France, Germany, Russia, China, a whole set of nations came together, were partners to the deal. You just pull out of it. Then you're going to bomb Iran. Then you're going to do this and that and the other. And I'm saying, my goodness me, you are supposed, who will trust you when you say, okay, we'll talk about this? So when you say you're not going to take Greenland by force, you might just be saying that to cause them to let the guard down, and tomorrow we'll wake up and hear that the United States of America stormed Greenland, and has basically taken it by military force from Denmark and whatever. We never know. So stop blaming St. Lucia and trying to make a case that is something Philip J. Pierre did wrong and is something the government and Labour Party did wrong. Nobody is able to behave themselves in a manner that can give them any kind of assurance that they are in a stable place with Donald J. Trump. Nobody. Not France, which is a nuclear-armed powerful nation. Not the UK, which is another nuclear-armed. Nobody knows where they stand. Look at all these talks with China that was supposed to have put all those trade disputes and whatever to rest and so on. All of a sudden, he come back again with something about China. Look at the situation with Canada. America's neighbor right there, riding shotgun on the North American continent with the United States. it's like America is not America, Donald Trump is determined to go to some blows with Canada all the time over what they have lived harmoniously for such a long time, centuries we might say, and so on. The man is just determined, to get into some spat with Canada, like he wants some kind of fight. He's up to something. So, to you people, tell yourself, if it's happening to Canada, if it's happening to Britain right now, then who won't it happen to? I see a call was flashing there, but I'm not sure. I don't think we have that call. I saw a flash. I pressed the button. I think it's time for a break. And during the break, I'll try to call Mr. Dylan Norbert Inglis and then see how we can take it from there if I do get him. All right. Hold on, Jaquan. Real issues.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, okay. I actually pushed back the break to take your call. So go ahead.
Oh, all right. Sorry. So, Larry, I just want to make a little discussion concerning the accidents we have on our road. Right. To my mind, I myself do the defensive driving, and my people that do defensive driving, they operate the physical defense. My mind. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I don't. Accidents do happen.
The what you said?
But to me, huh?
The what you said? The defensive driving what?
I say the defensive driving. They make minibus do it long time ago, and I believe we're driving differently. So I say to me, they're supposed to back the defensive driving for everybody from bike and all come back. Because to me, when you have the defensive driving, to my mind, you're driving differently.
Okay.
Because you're driving responsible.
Okay.
So let me explain a few details of what I see happening as people get their license, they start driving 25, 27 up. Some of them, when you see the driving, they not control their vehicle, man, because they live in this steering loose on the road. When you're watching the driving, you're never on the side they're supposed to be on the left or the anyhow. When they have to manage the vehicle, actually the vehicle still on the road, when they try to put it on the side they're supposed to. To me, the defensive driving have you responsible of your actions. So when you're driving, you will be driving on your side, and you know what is not supposed to pack. To me, when you have the defensive driving, to be responsible. Anything you do, you're taking account of it. So that's my contribution to it. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Let's take the break. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. When we return, we hope to have that interview. And if there is any time left, we can take some more calls and messages.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell's Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene of vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosile Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosile.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains, and illnesses? When there's help for you. At Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains, and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
Live streaming has become one of the best ways to connect the funeral of a loved one with friends and family, both local and international. NBC Television will live stream your funerals on television and Facebook at a reasonable rate. With our state-of-the-art equipment, you can be assured that the quality of your funeral will be to your satisfaction. Call our office now and book your obituary and streaming with us. 758-453-7458.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Thank you so very much, everyone, for staying with The Real Issues on this Wednesday, January 21st, 2026, with me, Shelton Daniel. And as I indicated to you earlier, short of actually promising, we have managed to connect with the Chief Executive Officer of the Regulated Substances Authority that we have on the line now. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Norbert Inglis. Thank you very much. I think his name is Dylan Norbert Inglis. I'll be calling him Norbert. Don't take the chance unless he gives you the permission. Norbert, good afternoon, and thank you so very much for joining us on The Real Issues.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right. It should be Dylan. Sorry, I keep getting there. All three such very nice names that it's easy to feel comfortable with either of them. It's actually Mr. Dylan Norbert Inglis, CEO, Regulated Substances Authority, RSA. I'll cut right to the chase, Norbert. There I go again. Dylan, there is floating around some complaint that's being expressed about, I suppose, the slowness in actually operationalizing or implementing that part of the framework for the legalization of marijuana in terms of the cultivation, that I have heard complaints coming from Mr. Pancho de Queiroz, that what they describe as the slow walking is causing people who are cultivating cannabis in the expectation that they would be integrated or dovetailed into the legalization framework, that they're still being busted by the police, and that is because it's taking too long to actually get things working as they have been provided for in law and regulations. What can you tell us about that in terms of how you've been able to perceive the complaints and what kind of responses have gone out to them?
I want to say that I see great merit in the statements made by Mr. DeCaries. They are relevant to what we have been trying to do within the cannabis legal framework. It is lamentable that it has taken as long as it has taken, and we did not envisage that it would have taken the length of time that it has. The truth of the matter is that had we had the legislation, some of these individuals may have had licenses or may have had amnesties. But the fact is that the legislation has not yet been passed. And as such, it permits the officers acting legally to continue to apply the same rules and laws that prohibit cannabis and to eradicate the cannabis plant if they believe that is in their mandate so to do. We as the RSA cannot say that that is improper, though we recognize that we have been at the forefront of developing the legislation for the legalization of cannabis. And we also want to state that the actions of the police will not stop because we have necessarily passed the law to allow for legal cultivation. You still may have persons who may not apply for an amnesty, and who may be subject to the similar treatment. You also would have had persons who may not apply for a license and may continue to flout the legislation after it has been legalized. And the police would still be well within their right, because it will remain illegal to cultivate without a license, for them to go to any cultivator and for them to burn down or destroy that crop. So yes, we lament that it has taken so long and it has not given persons the opportunity to apply for licenses which would allow them to act legally. But the police are well within their right to act as they have been acting.
I know you have no control over the Attorney General's office, but as a lawyer yourself, have you been able to get a sense of what has caused the delay in having this legislation passed and so on? What has been the hold-up, what you've been able to deduce or have been told?
Well, the legislation would have gone through a number of iterations. We would have started off with a bill that is very different to what we have concluded with. And I say concluded with because at this stage, as far as the RSA is concerned, we have concluded both the Drug Prevention of Misuse Amnesty Bill and the Regulated Substances Cannabis Bill. They were both submitted, well, approval from the RSA was submitted near the end of last year, sometime around October. And it, to my understanding, was submitted to, by it are referred to the pieces of legislation, was submitted to the cabinet sometime near the end of October, early November. We as an RSA, and I dare say no one in St. Lucia would have known when the cabinet would have ceased to meet or when the parliament would have been dissolved. Only the Prime Minister, in his discretion, would have been aware of when that would have taken place. So having known, as the Prime Minister did, that the Parliament was not going to be meeting, that may have been the reason that the bills were not approved by the Cabinet at that point in time. The Prime Minister may have recognized that as the Parliament is not going to be meeting, the Cabinet should not be approving a bill to go to a Parliament which will be in the next session. So it was not approved by the Cabinet, and I understand that it's going to be resubmitted to the Cabinet with the new minister so that it can then be approved and forwarded to the Parliament for enactment.
Okay, so the long and short of it is that elections kind of got in the way there, the proroguing of the Parliament and all of that went on.
Correct.
All right. You mentioned about amnesty, and then you mentioned about legalization, amnesty and licensing. For the benefit of our listeners and for my own benefit, can you outline for us what is it we're talking about, the bill pertaining to amnesty and the bill pertaining to licenses? What is the difference and how does one complement or support the other?
So we would have recognized in most pieces of legislation where you have individuals applying for licenses to be involved in a commercial activity, you are prohibited from getting into that industry if you have certain convictions, if you have been involved in anything tied into the Drug Prevention and Misuse Act or anything in excess of a traffic ticket, so to speak. We did not think it prudent for us to continue to have the individuals who are part of the industry or who were part of the industry prior to the legalized framework to be blocked from entering this legal framework. So we had, in conversations with the AG's chambers and the Cabinet of Ministers, received the instructions for us to prepare a drug prevention and misuse amnesty bill. What that bill proposes is to allow individuals who may have acted, albeit illegally, but would have been involved in that industry, that is cultivating cannabis or selling cannabis, to be able to come forward to say, I was engaged in this illegal activity, but I am one of the persons who is a legacy operator in this space.
Okay.
I want to admit this, accept it, and be treated equally, or in some cases be given an opportunity to get into the industry before other individuals who may not have been in the industry prior to me. The thinking is that you would like to see people in the illegal sector be able to transition to the legal regime, and that's why the amnesty was created.
All right. So basically, their convictions and so on would be scrubbed. Is that what we're talking about? If they had
Not
any...
Well, we have regimes that allow for the convictions to be scrubbed already. So they would have been the passage of that legislation from 2021.
Okay.
But what it is saying is that if you right now, at the time that the legislation is possible to be passed today, you had a farm with cannabis on it, you would have been able to come and say, I have X number of plants on my farm I have been cultivating. I do not want to have the police come to me tomorrow and destroy all of this crop. I would like to have this into the legitimate market. Can I get an amnesty for this even though I have not received my license as yet?
Okay.
And thereafter, having received your license to cultivate, you can continue, but you would not be arrested and charged for whatever you would have indicated in your amnesty application. I have. So the police would be made aware this person has X number of plants in this location. They are not to be destroyed. He has a pending application for a license.
All right. Okay. In the meantime, while someone may be cultivating, cannabis, supposedly pending the actual implementation of the licensing regime and so on, what if they do decide that because of the time that the complaints are saying that it's taking, that we are not getting there, say you remove the police, for want of a better word, harassment, or the police still continuing to check on them, what is to prevent them from saying, in the meantime, let me try to make a buck, and push some weed about the place and so on? Is there a danger of that the impatience and the long wait to actually see the legalization regime come around to basically protect them and so on, that they might decide to go a little bit off track in terms of how they treat the marijuana that they have cultivated? Is there any danger of that?
Well, yes, there is, and that danger will continue. It's the same as saying that I have a license for me to cultivate and produce this cannabis product, and instead I'm cultivating and producing this cannabis product. So if we are to ascribe to the law, then there must be an appreciation that the law is strict. So if I am licensed tomorrow to cultivate this strain on this acre of land, and I decide I would like to cultivate on 2 acres, one that meets the standards for security, etc., and one that does not, you would have a similar challenge.
Okay.
You need to be able to follow the letter of the law.
I'm very glad that you mentioned security, and maybe we can use that to segue into the other question I want to ask you, because it appears to me as a media practitioner listening to people talk that many people are of the view, and mistaken I think it is, that legalization means a free-for-all, that it's going to free up. And I was at pains to explain to some friends that the framework of legalization is so strict, it is even more strict, than if person were doing their own thing. The requirements for security, the requirements for accountability and so on that are in it. Can you talk to us about legalization and how the framework is one that requires very tight adherence?
So we would have recognized that there was this common belief that anybody and everybody would be able to go into cannabis, and it is just as easy as getting seeds and planting. And we recognize that the majority of the provisions that speak to these tenets and parameters are not found in the legislation. That is why, as an RSA, we went through the process of developing the regulations for the industry very early. And we would have released these regulations from about halfway through last year, almost 20 regulations, that would speak to cultivation license. What is required? Do you have to have a fence? How quickly do you have to put up a fence? How tall is this fence? Do you have to have cameras? Do you have to have? So persons can understand and have this opportunity from halfway through last year to start to plan, determine what the costing would be, determine what they would have to put in place to meet the standards for the industry. Because the standards are not being set up because we decide we want to be onerous with it. They're being set up because, one, they're internationally recognized as the adequate standard for cannabis cultivation. And two, the cannabis industry touches and concerns a number of other industries. So you have your banking sector and a number of other sectors that are linked to this cannabis industry. And if we are too lax on any one component or any one pillar of the industry, then we risk challenges or issues within another sector. So that is why we've had to meet the industry standards as they've been accepted internationally. If persons were to go to St. Vincent and see what a farm looks like there, Jamaica, Antigua, Barbados, our regulations are not dissimilar to what has been established in these jurisdictions, because they too have understood that that is what is required for you to have a legal cannabis regime.
Okay. And if we don't adhere to that regime, to that framework under which legalization has to fall, it's my understanding that people believe, well, to hell with that, just free it up, I suppose, influenced by Peter Tosh's, old popular reggae song, Legalize Marijuana. I understand we can expose ourselves to international sanctions and a whole lot of things. Is that true?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So there is a need for us to submit reports on a regular basis to the International Narcotics Control Board and other entities that have an interest in the cannabis industry internationally. So if we are able to submit these documents and they have to be audited, we must be able to see with certainty what is happening, how many plants we have on the island, what is the sale like. So that information can only be done when you have a closed loop circle within our industry. Is imperative to that industry actually be able to function.
The legalization framework and so on, let's go back to the security for a bit. Are there particular provisions in it on how to deal with, predial larceny of people who try to raid licensed farms and so on? You mentioned about the fencing, but do we see it as something that can lead to violent confrontations, even bloody confrontations, as the licensed farmers and so on seek to protect, their farms and so on, not just because of the cost implications for them, but because of the legal liabilities that they can incur, the accounting that they have to make for what they have, the number of plants and what's harvested and so on. Is there a possibility that the cultivation can become a bit dicey in that regard?
I think we had an exercise of balancing the two when we were developing the regime. So we looked to determine what would have been, as you put it, dicey, and what would have been required.
Okay.
And in doing so, we would have established that when you have a closed loop system, as I referenced earlier, it makes it a little bit more difficult for inversion of illicit product.
Okay.
So unlike the status quo where if I'm to go to a farm and steal tomatoes, I can just go by the market and sell them. If I am to now raid a cannabis farm, steal from a licensed cultivator, I cannot inject that product into the legal market. So it then has to stay within the illicit market. And if you have the growth of your legal market to a point where, and you will never destroy or completely eliminate the illegal market, but as we've seen in most jurisdictions, with time and with the years, persons gravitate more so and more so to the legal market. It will then cause the persons who want to get into the illegal space greater challenge, because you don't have the ease of being able to allow for that cannabis to flow as it can within the legal market.
Okay. My final question to you, Dylan, is yes, I understand, and I think anybody can understand the situation where we had the proroguing of the parliament, the snap announcement of an election, the politics, the whole transition thing that took place. But when you mentioned about the middle of last year, so much was done to create the awareness, to roll out the proposed, legislations and all the consultations. On the sum of it, would it not be fair to say that we seem to have had a bit of a late start in terms of the move towards, we got the decriminalization done with a fair amount of breathing space and so on, but the whole legalization thing, were we a little late in getting going on that? I say so as someone who lived not too long ago in Antigua, and they seem to have been very advanced in when it comes to setting up not just the decriminalization, but establishing. I visited at least the launching of one such farm, and it's cutting the ribbon, whatever for it and so on. Is St. Lucia a little late to the party in terms of getting going on that overall?
I like that you said that we are late to the party. I like to think of us as being best dressed. So I do acknowledge that a number of the other jurisdictions have been able to roll out the industry. As the country that would have proposed the creation of the Caribbean Cannabis Forum, we've been having regular discussions with Antigua, Barbados, St. Kitts, and St. Vincent on the industries that have been developed in these various jurisdictions. We've also had conversations with Jamaica about some of the do's and don'ts, some of the challenges that they had. We sought to develop a regime that was as modern as possible and that was bespoke, relevant to our national context.
Okay.
So what we have in our legislation is different to what exists anywhere else.
Okay.
We have noted that Grenada actually incidentally passed their legislation yesterday for cannabis. They have passed the legislation and indicated that they need some time to complete the regulations. But it was quite interesting when we noted the number of similarities in the legislation in Grenada to the St. Lucian context. So the 4 plants, the age for consumption at 21, and a lot of these things would have been things that St. Lucia saw as relevant for us and changed from what had happened in Jamaica, Barbados, Antigua, St. Vincent. So we think that as much as we may have taken some time, we've developed a piece of legislation that works very well in the context, and we've also expanded some of the offerings that St. Lucia has with some additional licenses, some additional mechanisms that we think is going to cause a stronger industry in St. Lucia than what we've seen in some of the other islands.
Have we gotten any particularly strong pushback from in a sectoral or institutional sense and so on? You mentioned our own bespoke circumstances, our own distinctives and so on. Has there been a particularly strong pushback from sectors, say like the church, I don't know, the business sector, other elements of what we might consider a conservatism that perhaps cannot bear to countenance or even contemplate legalization and decriminalization in St. Lucia? Would you say that along the way, from the time you've been involved, that you've encountered that or you've noticed it?
No, actually. And a lot of persons are shocked to hear me say that. We have had many meetings. We've met with the Christian Council, we've met with the Ministry of Health, and a number of the entities that people would have felt would have opposed this cannabis regime. And in all of those conversations, they would have indicated what their fears were, and a lot of these fears were legitimate. That are the children going to be protected? What about the developing brain? Access for the individuals, and we were able to show how the industry was able to tick all of these boxes. As I said, it will not be perfect in every instance, but we did put in place mechanisms and processes to address all of these concerns. So the individuals who may continue to have some of these challenges may not have read the bills as it has gone through these various iterations, and the additions have been made to deal with some of these concerns. But we, as recently as end of last year, we still continue to have quite a bit of support for the regime from some of the entities that people would have thought would have been opposed to it. Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, Dylan Norbert Inglis, CEO of the Regulated Substances Authority of St. Lucia, thank you so very much for, at relatively short notice, agreeing to join us and grant the interview. This interview, I think we are all the better informed and enlightened for it, and I hope it won't be long before maybe we can have a bit of follow-up on some of those matters, especially as they evolve and unfold. Thanks a lot. Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, and that's where we wrap up the real issues for today, Wednesday, the 21st of January, 2026. Thank you very much, Alton Jaquan Joseph, for another great job at the controls. Thank you, everyone, for being attentive, and let's do it again, same time tomorrow from 12:30 until 2 on the radio station Real FM, our sister television station MBC, also on Facebook and the YouTube live streaming Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. Shelton Daniel signing out.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell's supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health Prevention.
The winning numbers for the midday draw of Wednesday, 21st January 2026 were Double Daily Grand, 5, 12, 14, 19. Big 4, 6, 7, 9, 3. The Big 4 Multi-X ball drawn is FP. Pick 2, 0, 1. The Pick 2 Multi-X ball drawn is 2X. 1 off, 1, 0, 8. Lucky 3, 1, 1, 1. The Lucky 3 Multi-X ball drawn is 2X.
The man, the voice, your hero